Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful looking to-do list application using React and React hooks. We are going to use hooks like useEffect, useState, useRef, useCallback and more. So let me show you a demo of the application. I can say learn JavaScript right here and I can add the to-do. We see the to-do gets added down. I can say learn React.js, add to-do, eat, add to do, and also subscribe to Kadir Media, and I can add the final to do. We can also delete to do's and we see that the counter here gets updated. We can also edit them. I can say learn UX design, for example, and I can hit save and it gets updated. We can edit this one as well, learn CSS, save, and gets updated. And we can delete all of them and we see this initial text right here. And this is what we are going to create today, guys. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification icon so that you don't miss any of my videos. Let's open Visual Studio Code right now and start creating this application from scratch. Visual Studio Code is open now, and what we need to do now, we need to open a terminal. And inside the terminal, we need to create a React application. And I can do this by typing npx create-react app. And for the name, I will call this TodoList App. And I will hit enter. Before you also hit enter, make sure you have Node.js installed. Otherwise, you won't be able to run this command. So I'm going to hit enter, and that will start installing the project and the project files. So I'm gonna be back to you when this is finished. Alright, so the installation has finished. I can see my folder right here on the left side. If we open the source folder, we can see our files. And on the terminal, we have two commands, cd TodoList App and npm start. So I'm gonna follow them. You can follow them as well. I can say cd TodoList App, hit enter, and then npm start. This command will start the development server on localhost 3000. So let's wait until the server is started. As you can see, it automatically opened my Google Chrome. So I'm going to start cleaning this a little bit because we won't need anything such as the test files and the logo and stuff. So let me delete this. So I'm gonna say delete for the logo, move to trash. I will delete this one. I will delete also this test file, we don't need it. And I think that's fine. Inside the app.js, I will delete the logo import. And I will just say import React from React. And I will also delete everything inside the div with the class name of app. And I'm going to output h1, which will say hello from React. I will save, and when the server has started, we'll be able to see hello from React right here on the DOM. Great. Let's open Visual Studio Code again and head to app.css. So inside the app.css, we will delete everything and we will provide our own styles. So for the moment, I will just save and open app.js. And I'm going to start creating the components now, the folder structure and the components, so that you can follow with me as well. Inside the source folder, let's create a folder called components. So I'm going to say components. And inside this components folder, we will have a folder for the navbar. So I'll say navbar. We will also have a folder for the footer. So I'll say footer. And inside the navbar, we will create navbar.js. And we will create footer.js inside the footer folder. let's quickly generate a functional component. So I'll type RFCA, and that will generate a functional component. Basically, I used code snippets. You can also install them from the extensions right here. I will repeat the same for the footer. So RF bum, we have the footer. Oops, I have a problem here. Okay, so the footer is also created. What we will start doing right now, we will start creating the navbar. So inside this navbar functional component, we will have a div with the class name of navbar. And inside the navbar, we will just have one simple h1 saying ReactJS TodoList, and I'm gonna wrap this app word in a span tag because that will be a different color. So I will say span, and the app will go right inside the span. All right, we can hit prettier and we can save. And this one will be capital L. And we can save this now. For the footer, let's go to the footer and we can say div class name. So class name will be footer. And here we will have a simple paragraph. So I'm going to create a paragraph tag. It's not capital P, it's smaller p. So I'm going to say to-do list app 2021 ampersand copy, and I will save. Inside the app.js, I will import those. So I'll say import navbar, and you see that it automatically tells me the path, and I will do the same for import footer from components footer. And let's output them right here inside the DOM. So we can say navbar. Oh, come on. So navbar, self-closing tag, and also footer self-closing tag. And if we save now and open the browser, we will see them just like that. Okay, great. Let's also start working on the content, and after that we will style them. So right here below the navbar, we will have a div which will have a class name of container, and that container will store our input fields, our to-dos, our buttons and stuff. So I'm gonna say div class name equals container, and inside this container we will have a div, and this div will be with the class name of input dash container. All right, so input dash container, and right here we will have one input of type text with the self-closing tag, and we will also have a button which will say add. Below this div, we will have another div which will store our to-dos. So I'm going to say div, and this div will be with the class name of todos container parent / parent. Okay, and I will save this, and let's see what we have. So we have the input field with the button. We will also have a label right here on the right side, which will count the to-dos. So let me do that quickly. Inside the, doesn't matter where we place it, we can just place it inside the container. So here we will have a span, which will say total to-dos. And for the moment, I will say, I will say 0, but later on we will provide a counter right here of to-dos. So let me save and let me see what we have. We have this one right here. All right, so pretty much we have done the structure. And before we start adding to-dos and displaying them, let's start styling the navbar and footer. So inside the app.css, I will start with the navbar. So I'll say .navbar, and this navbar will have a background color. So background color of hexadecimal 0C0A3A, which is that dark blue. It will be with the width of 100%, height of height of 10 viewport height. It will be display flex. It will be align item center and justify content center, and the color will be white. So after we save this, we should be able to see the change, and we see the navbar right here. Great. Let's also style this span right here. So I will say span, and this span will have a color of the red one we just gave. So it's F9564F. Now if we save, we should be able to see the word app in a different color, and we see that, but this one also gets red, but we will fix this later. Let's also style the footer. So right here after the navbar, I'll say footer, and pretty much we will copy the styles from here and we'll paste them to the footer, with the difference that this navbar will have a border bottom of 1 pixel solid white, and the footer will have a border top. So border top 1 pixel solid white. Now if we say, we should see them just like this. Let's work on the container so that we can see the separation. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna say dot container. So remember, that's the container that will store everything, and this container will have a width of 100%, a min height of 80 viewport height, a background color of the same blue, dark blue. So I'm gonna use this. Display of flex direction will be column, and we will align the items to the center. Now if we save, we should see the container. It expanded, it took 80 viewport height 80 slices of DOM, which we see. And we see also this input, the button, and the label. So now let's start styling the input and the button, and the label, let's move it on the right side. So I'm gonna do right below the span, I'm gonna say, I believe we gave this, let me close this footer in Navbar.js. Right here we gave this input dash container. Okay, so the input dash container will have a margin top. So dot input container, we will give a margin top of 30 pixels because we want it to be slightly below the navbar, and it is. And let's start styling the input right now. So input, so that input will be with a padding of 5 pixels, font size of 18 pixels, width, let's give it 200 pixels and see how this looks like. Just like this. All right. Let's give it a border radius of 5 pixels, and let's save and see how this looks. It looks like that. Okay. I think this input is fine for the moment. Let's style the button. So I'll say button. The button will have a padding as well of 5 pixels. Color will be white. The background color of the button will be the red one. Font size, so font size 18 pixels. Border radius of 5 pixels. And we can say outline, we don't want any outline, outline none. And border none. If we save now, let's see what happened. We see the button right next to the input. Let's give it a margin and a width. So width of the button will be 100 pixels and margin left of 10 pixels. And if we save now, okay, I opened Safari by mistake. Let me close it. We should see the text field and the button right here. However, let's give it only 5 pixels of margin, and it should look something like that. Okay, and for this container, in order to position the label, the span tag of total to-dos right on the left, on the right side, we need to give the container a position of relative. So I will say position relative, and this span, I will give it a class name. So class name will be total, and right here below the span I'll say dot total, and this one will be with a position of absolute, and it will be with top 10, and on the right it will be 0. Okay, and we will also give it a font size of 24 pixels. Okay, let's save now and let's see what we have. So we have total to-dos right here. Let's also give it a color. So I'll say color of white. Okay, now if we save, let me see where it is. It is right here. All right. But let's try to move it a little bit. So I'm going to say top 20 and let's see what happens. It doesn't move. So total. Span with the class name of total. The container. So the container, position relative. All right. Okay, let me close this. And I wonder why this not move. Okay, let's give it a right of 20. Let's see where it will move. It moves right here. Okay. So top 20 pixels and right 20 pixels. Okay. So it moved right here. Okay. We have the counter, but let's give it also margin right of, let's say 30 pixels. Let's move it so that if we have a bigger number, it actually takes this space right here. Or we can also give it 50 pixels. Okay, let's leave it with 50 pixels. Okay, it moved 50 pixels away. All right. Okay, so now we are ready to create the to-dos, to add them into the DOM and create the element right here. And to do that, what I will do, I will open Visual Studio Code again. I will go to app.js right here. And I'm going to import a couple of stuff right here from React. So I'm going to say, oops, so React, comma, curly brackets, and I will import useState, useEffect, useRef, because we will need those hooks. useCallback as well. And I will hit save, and inside the app, I will first of all convert that to an arrow function. So const app equals arrow function. Okay. And right here, I will create a couple of states. So I'll say const to-dos, set to-dos, and initially that'll be equal to an empty array. So I'll say useState, and that'll be an empty array. All right. We also need to store the user input. So I'll say const user input, set user input, and that will be initially an empty string. All right. And here we can assign this user input to the text field. So we can say value to be equal to user input, and on change, whenever we type something, we will fire an anonymous function which will take the event. So inside this brackets, we'll place the event, and we will say set user input to be e.target.value. That way we will populate the user input variable with the actual user input. So if I save now and look, nothing will happen. But when we did the demo, when I reload the page, this input field autofocuses completely. So let's do that right now. So to do an autofocus of this input field on initial load, I will say const ref equals useRef, and that ref will be null initially. And in order to make it work, we need to use useEffect. So useEffect, if we create this, and do it like that, we need to pass the ref to the input field. So we can say ref to be equal to ref. And on load, when the component loads, when the page loads, we can say ref that current that focus. If I do this now, and if I save, and if I reload, we see that the text field gets out of focus automatically. And we have achieved this using useEffect and useRef, just like that. It's easy. We have this working. Now let's start adding the to-dos. So to add a to-do, what we need to do, we need to assign a listener to this button. So I'm gonna do this right now. So I'm gonna create a listener. So I'll say const handler, I'm sorry. So const add to do handler, and that will be equal to useCallback, because we want some optimization, and therefore we'll use useCallback. And useCallback is created just like this. So right here we'll pass this to the button. So on click will be equal to add to do handler. All right, but in order to run it, so okay, let's test this out. So here, let's say alert 1 2 3, and let's save. So if I press, we see 1 2 3. So the function is working. All right. So now, in order to add a to do, what we need to do? Well, we have typed something into the field, and we have populated this user input variable using this set user input function. And to add a to do, what we need to do, first of all, we need to get the current to dos. So I'm gonna say const all to dos equals array. I will spread the to dos we already have using the dot, 3 dots. That's the JavaScript spread over there. And after that, I will make a check. If user input is not empty string, I will make something, else I will do something else. So actually, let's make it like that. If user input is an empty string, we want to return from the function. We want to get out of the function. We don't want to do anything. And if is not empty string, then we will do something else. So I will say const new to do equals an object, and that to do will have an ID of mat floor mat, so mat random, and I will multiply this by, let's say, 1000 to get a number between 0 and 1000, and I will save. And below this we will have the actual to-do text, and that will be the user input. All right, and after that, what we will do, we will say const new to-dos, that will be all to-dos dot concat. So we will concat the new to-do, and concat is an array method in JavaScript. So we will concat new to-do right here, just like that. And after we do this, we will say set to-dos to be equal to new to-dos. And right here, if you notice, we have a complaint from useCallback which says missing dependency to-dos and user input. So let's include them. So to-dos, user input, just like this. And after we do everything, after we submit the to-do, let's reset the user input. So I can say set user input back to an empty string. With that, we have our handler working and we can display the to-dos. So to display the to-do, we'll have to loop through them and output them into the DOM. So to do that, inside this div with the class name of to-dos container parent, we will open curly brackets just like this, and we will say to-dos dot map. We will loop through the to-dos, and for every single to-do, we will output some JSX code, some HTML. And here we'll have a div. So we will output a div. And to show you that we have something here, we can say to-do.text, all right? And here we'll also need the index. So I'll get the index, and for the key, we will provide to-do.id, all right? And now if I save and go back, press add, we have, okay, all to-dos.contact. I have a typo, so let me fix it quickly. All to-dos.concat. Now, if we save, say it and add, we again have a mistake. To-dos.map is not a function. Okay, what's the matter right here? Okay, click add, we have a mistake. Let's see what's happening. So, let's fire this anonymous function right here and do it like this. So eat. Let me see what's happening. Okay, let's open the console, type something, press add. Nothing happens. Why? Well, let's see. Oh, I see. It's new to-dos. Okay. Okay, that was my bad. So, eat, add, not working again. Let me go back. And save. So eat. Okay, now it's working, but we don't see it because it's black. So let's give it a style. Let's make it H4 and place this to do that text right here and provide an inline styling. So style to be color of white, and if we save and go back, we should see our to-dos right here. All right, so add something, we see them updating. Let's work on the counter right now. So this is very simple. We just need to say on the place of this total to-dos to be it's going to be dynamic, so it's going to be to-dos dot length. And if we save and go back, we have 5 to-dos right now. We have 0 right now. We add 1, 2, 3. It is working good. So we are outputting the to-dos, and now let's start working on the styling of this. All right. For this, we'll be using an icon. So let's open one more terminal right here and install a package called React Icons. So first of all, I will say cd TodoList App, and I'm going to say npm install React-Icons. And after this is installed, we'll be able to use the icons. I will go to React Icons, and I will open this just like this, and here we can see the website of React Icons, and we can search for icons. I will show you how to do that in a moment. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code, and let's see whether we have installed this. So it's installed React Icons. So I'm gonna stop this terminal, and let's see what we have. So we will work on the to-do div right now. So let's give a class name to this div, and that div will have a class name of we will call this to-dos container parent. Let's say to-dos dash container child. I know it's a strange name, but let's follow this convention for our ease. So I'm going to remove this stuff right here, and inside this div we'll have another div. Okay, so another div which will store the to-do text. So here we'll have an h4 which will be to-do.text, and below we'll have another div which will store the icons. So I'll say div, and we will need a couple of icons from React Icons. So I'm going to search for edit. So edit, and we can see, let's grab this one, MD edit. If we click on it, it's copied. So to use React Icons, what we need to do, we just need to say import, open curly brackets, paste the name we just copied from React-Icons / and every icon has a prefix, like the first 2 letters of the icon, and this is the module we need to require. So this one is MD, so I'll say MD, and I am going to place this right here. So I'm going to say MD edit. and I will close this just like this, and I will hit prettier, and we will also need, if I'm not mistaken, we also need the delete ones. So I'm gonna say delete, so delete, and we will grab this one right here, md delete. Okay, and as it's the same as, I mean it's the same for the same icon from the same package, we just say md edit, md delete. So md delete, we don't need to say import md delete from React icon separately, we just place it right here, and we just paste this below the edit, and we can say md delete. Okay, come on, so delete, just like this. Now if we save, we should be able to see the icons and the text. So first it needs to compile, so I'm gonna wait for this to compile, and I'm gonna say again it, we see them but they're black. So let's start styling this so we can see that. So this div to do containers child, okay, and to do containers parent, let's style them. So here below the container, let's place a dot, and we can say to do container parent, and we also have to do container child. All right, so the child will be with the display of flex, align item center, and justify content will be space between, because we want the text to be on the left side and the icons on the right side, so we'll say space between. Okay, and color will be white, so the width of this will be 100% of the parent, so I'm going to say 100%, and the height, let's say height can be 50 pixels. All right, and the background color, that can be let's see, the red one, hexadecimal F95 64F. Okay, let's save and see what we have. So type something, to do container child, to do container parent. Oh, to do's, okay, to do's, so to do's, save, and we see it right here. All right, let's give this parent container a width, so I'm gonna say width of 40%, so 40% width for the parent, and let's save, and we see the to do right here. Okay, let's also say margin top 10 pixels and margin bottom 10 pixels. Now the to do container has a margin. Let's also give it a border radius, so border radius of 10 pixels in order to make it round. So now it's round, but it's too much rounded, so I just want 5 pixels of border radius, and it looks fine for now. Let's style the icons, so let's make them bigger. So in order to style the icons, we can just say below, let's say here, we can say icon, and icon font size will be 30 pixels. And we can save this file, and for the icon we can say class name to be icon. Okay, so class name equals icon. Okay, let's save, and they should become bigger right now, and they did become, so they're bigger. All right, we have our to-do logic working, so we can add to-dos. We have 4 to-dos right now. Let me replace the buttons. So let me place this below the delete so that it's after the delete, not before the delete. Just like this. Okay. Now let's work on deleting the to-do. So to delete a to-do, what we need to do, we need to actually, let's first move that a little bit to the right side. So to move it, what we can do, we can provide this h4 with the class name of to-do text, to-do dash text, and inside the app.css we can say to-do dash text, and we can give a margin, so margin left of 10 pixels. And if we save, the app.js file as well, we should be able to see that they moved. So they moved. All right. But as I said, now we have done this, let's start working on the deleting. So when we click on the delete icon, we can delete the to-dos. So to do that, we need to create a handler. So let's create this handler quickly. We can say right here, let's say const delete. So let delete to do handler, that will be equal to useCallback. Okay, and that will accept an ID. And okay, so just like this, we provide a dependency list, we accept the ID, and we need to assign this delete to the handler to the icons. So here on the delete one, I can say on click, I can open curly brackets, fire a function, anonymous function, and provide delete to do handler, and pass to do that ID. Okay, now that we are passing this ID, we can do the logic. So first of all, we need to grab the all to-dos. So to do that, we can say const all to-dos equals array. We can spread the already existing to-dos just like this, and then we can say const new to-dos to be equal to all to-dos dot filter. So we will filter each to-do, and for each to-do we'll filter the to-dos, and for each to-do we will filter out the to-do.id that is not equal to the past ID. And after we do that, we can say set to-dos new to-dos. Simple as this. And for the dependency list, we will provide to-dos because that's dynamic. And we can hit save and open the app, say eat, drink, add, sleep, add, click on delete, they get deleted. One thing I noticed that we need to give a font weight of bold for all those texts. So let's quickly go to app.css and for the footer, let's say font weight of bold. Okay, let's copy that and let's assign this also to the total. So total, and for the button, so for button, and let's save, and they should be bold now and they should look better, and they do look better right now. So we have the deleting logic working. We need to work now on the editing logic. So to edit the to-do, what we need to do, we need to press on this icon and we need to display an input field with a save option. And to do that, we'll have to make some logic. Now, when we wanna edit a to-do, we wanna edit that particular to-do inside the array of to-dos. And right here we have the index, and we need to first of all we need to create we'll create two handlers. One handler for this icon right here, the edit icon, and one handler for the save action. So I will do that right now and I will show you what I mean. So first of all, I'll say const edit to do handler, that will be equal to useCallback again, and that will be getting the index of the to-do we want to edit, and we will do just like this, and we will create another piece of state right here. So I'll say const to do index set to do index, and that will be useState of null. Okay, we'll also have const to do, okay, actually it will be edit text set edit text. When we type something into the editing field, we will fire this function and populate the edit text variable. So we'll say useState, that will be similar to the user input one. So useState, and that will be an empty string. Okay, so here on the edit icon, we can say on click. So when we click on this, on click, we want to fire a function which will fire edit to do handler, and we will pass index right here. Okay, and after we receive the index on the top here, we will say set index, set to do index to be equal to the index. But we also need the Boolean value to indicate that we are requesting an edit. So we also have to create one more state. So I'll say editing, set editing to be equal to useState. So it's going to be useState, and that will be false. And when we request to edit, we will set that to true. So I'll say set editing that will be true. Okay, after we create this handler, we will also have const save edit to do handler, and that will be also useCallback. And we will accept the to-do ID right here. So I'm gonna say ID right here and provide a dependency array just like this, and leave it like that for the moment, and I'll get back to that in a moment. So right here we will have to have a check. Okay, so inside this to-dos container child, what we will do, we will open set of curly brackets and we will have a check. We will say if editing, so if we want to edit, if we press the button and we say editing, we will show something else, we will show something else. So if we want to edit, actually it will be if editing and to-do index, so to-do index is equal to the index, we want to show something. All right, so I'm gonna place this this div. So here we'll have a div which will have an input, so input of type that will be text with a self-closing tag, and we also have a button which will say save. Okay, and let's say we provide null right here. Okay, so on the place of this null we will actually place the other stuff we have. So we will place this div along with this div right here. So I'm gonna copy and paste it right here, but we will have a error. JSX expressions must have one parent element. In order to fix this, we need to wrap that stuff with a React fragment, just like this. Now if we save and we press the edit, we see that we have the field working, but we cannot remove it yet. So let's work, let me close this and let's work on this gradually. So I will first of all, on the save edit to do handler, after we click it, we need to say set editing to be false. And if I save now, open the browser, add a to do, press on edit, click save, it didn't compile yet, I believe. Set editing false. And also set to do index to be null. Okay, save edit to do handler, do we use it somewhere? No, we don't use it. Okay, so here on click event, so on click will fire save edit to do handler. And if I save, but as we will provide an ID, let's do that. So to do that ID, we can pass the ID and save. Okay, add, press doesn't work because it needs to be an anonymous function as we are passing an argument. Okay, so now if we save it and press, we hit save, it toggles. Okay, we have this basic logic working right now. What we need to do next is we need to give this input field a default value. So the input field will have a default value of that will be to do that text. Okay, and also an onChange handler. So onChange, and on every keystroke we will fire an anonymous function again. So I'll say event arrow function set do we have this piece of state edit text, set edit text. Okay, and I will say set edit text. Okay, and that will be event dot target dot value. Now we are making this input field work, and inside our save edit to do handler, we need to have also a check. So what I will do, I will say, so first of all we'll say so const all to-dos that will be an empty array spreading the already existing to-dos we have. Okay, so all to-dos. Oh, sorry. No, actually we don't need to do that. We just need to say okay, let's do it like that. So I'm gonna return this and I'm gonna say all to-dos, so all to-dos dot map, and for each to-do we will do the following. So we will have a check. If to-do dot ID equals the past to-do ID, and if editing text, so what was the name of this? It was edit text. Okay, so and if edit text, so edit text is not an empty string, then we will say to do that text that will be equal to the edit text. Okay, else we'll return the to-do. Okay, and outside of this function we'll say return to do, just like this. Okay, we have a mistake. What the mistake is? Else. Oh, okay. Return to do. Okay. Okay. We have another one. Okay, so return to do. And after we do that, we can just say right here, const new to-dos equals all to-dos at map. Okay. And then we can say set to-dos to the new to-dos. Okay. And for dependency, I will provide edit text and to-dos. Okay. Now it should be working, and let's save. So what we are doing here, we are getting the all to-dos, we are looping through them. If the ID of the to-do is the ID equals to the ID that we want to edit down below in the list, and if we don't have an empty string on the second input field, then we set that text to the text we are typing into the field. Else we just return the to-do. And then we are setting the new state with the new to-dos. Let's see whether this works. So I will say eat, and I will say at, I will say drink, and I will say at, and then I will say sleep. Okay. At, request to edit, sleep to, save, and we see that it gets edited right now. Drink water, save, it gets edited. And if we try to set it empty, it will be drink water, because right here we are saying return to do. And we can delete, but we don't have the label right here, so let's just display that. So finally we need to say right here below, it's actually below the input field, so we can say right below this div. Okay, we can just output an h2 saying, so here we can make it like that. We can give it dynamic curly brackets, and we can say if to-dos.length equals 0, only then we want to output an h2 saying start adding to-dos. Okay, ... Now if we save, it will be right here, and let's give that an inline style. So I'm going to say it's style, because we have only one property. Let's not open app.css anymore and say color white. So color white, hit save, and it should be right here, and it's just like that. And we can also say font weight to be bold. Hit save, final save, open the browser, and it's looking amazing. So learn JavaScript, add to do, we see one to do. Learn React, add to do, we see another one. Subscribe to Color Media, add to do, we see another one. Delete, I can edit this one. I can say like this video, hit save, and it's updated. Delete, and it's working. So everything is working, guys. we have done this amazing to-do list application using React.js and React hooks. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy the video, give this video a thumbs up because that really helps me and motivates me to create more and more videos for you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And thank you so much for watching once again. I will see you in the next videos.